you're ready. Once this loads. Wake up. Yeah.
Would you rather be a bug the size of a human
Ooh.
or a human the size of a bug? Let's say a beetle. Like you can fly though. Some beetles can fly.
A human the size of a bug.
Really?
I think if you were a bug the size of a human, people would kill you very quickly, and it would be hard to hide.
But you look like a human though. Oh, if you were a bug the size of a human.
Yep. A human that's the size of a human is what I am right now.
You don't say.
Yeah.
But a bug the size of a human, you're saying people would kill you.
You would die very quickly. Whereas I think a human the size of the bug, you'd probably have better chances of surviving.
What could you like lift and eat? And where would you live?
I'll just find some crumb to live under. You could help me. You'd
A
see
crumb?
me and they'd be like, oh, that's a person.
You would eat the
Don't
crumb.
squish it. Would you squish a human the size of a bug if you saw it? Exactly.
This is like the movie, Honey, I Shrunk My Husband.
If someone saw a human the size of a bug, they wouldn't look at it and think, oh my God, kill it. They'd be like, oh my God, what is that? Who is that?
You poor thing.
Let's talk to it. Like, how do we communicate to it?
They'd have to create an anti-shrink ray, a grow ray.
That's true. Whereas if you were a bug the size of a human, humans would be terrified of you and you'd probably be shot like immediately. So that's likely what would happen. Anyways, we can do our intro now.
Okay. Ready. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Tailosive Talks podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. Nice.
I'm Louise Norris-Smith, and I'm joined today by my...
Are we getting a divorce?
Oh, shoot. I just said my old last name. Wow.
It's all right. You get used to it.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm Louise Erickson.
And I'm Drew Norris-Smith. We're changing our last names, by the way.
That is awkward.
Oh, well. And this is the Tailosive Talks podcast.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode.
Jazz hands. I hope you're having a good day. How was your day? You didn't have to work today.
Yeah, I worked 9 days straight, and today was my first day off, and it was really, really nice.
9 days
Other than termites came back to our house.
Or they never left. We just couldn't see them very well.
I guess. They were just hiding in the walls.
They were hiding, but they've leveled up. They're level 35 termites now.
Yeah, they're actually really scary looking once they're big. Like the first time we got them, they looked like little maggots.
Worms. Yeah.
It was really gross. It was in our bathroom.
They were very gross.
Mm-hmm. And then we got rid of them, and then they came back again. Except this time they were huge and had wings and were like flying around.
They were all singing that Eminem song that says, "Guess who's back?
Back again.
Termites
back. Tell a friend."
So we did. We told all our friends, which are you guys, the viewers.
And our landlord.
Yeah.
He was the most important person.
Right.
But he's literally come 3 times to try to fix this issue.
Right.
Still there.
Yeah, hopefully they can figure that out. Luckily, they don't seem to get too close to the new office space, which is nice. But
yeah, it's only in the bathroom, and there was some in the kitchen this morning. But
that's not good. They're expanding.
Yep.
It's not good. There's problems everywhere. There's still leak problems here. It
really?
Stinks. I was cleaning out. We have a closet in the back that I don't show on camera because it's disgusting and it's just full of junk and stuff.
Which
that
one?
I've been. Well, there's only one. The back here, that back closet area. That's full of old things that I wasn't using anymore, and I was clearing stuff out yesterday, and found out that water was leaking in that closet too. But there was so much junk back there that it was basically like covering the floor, and I couldn't see that there was a leak back there until now that I started lifting things up and they're wet.
Oh.
And it was all moldy, and I was like,
"Was a bunch of your stuff ruined?"
Anything I put back there, I didn't care about. So,
didn't you have like camera bags and stuff?
I have too many camera bags. That's the thing. I already have like 4 camera bags that I barely use that are fine, and I had, I guess, more camera bags back there that I didn't touch in years, but I just stored them here because I moved out a long time ago, and So yeah, those were ruined, but it's probably good because we don't have space for them at home. So just got to throw them out anyway. The fact that they're wet and moldy is just a good excuse for that. Anyways, we got some
True.
super chats from Rockford Tech, who says
Hello,
hi,
Rockford.
hi. And he says air power is up, but I don't believe him. Thanks for the prank, though. Appreciate it.
Wait, it's not true.
No, I don't believe that. I would be getting a billion notifications right now if air power was available. And it's also a random time for them to release it. So I have my doubts. I have my reasonable doubts. But was anything else going on today for you? Or was it a nice day off?
Just termites, and then I just lay down on the couch for like 5 hours. Sorry.
Sorry.
Notifications.
You can do not disturb it. But that's good because 9 days is too long for you to be working those.
Oh, I'm sure other people work like 100 days straight.
Oh my God.
I just can't do it.
No,
I
I
get
don't.
burnt out.
For what they're paying you to, it's just not worth it. If they want you to work that many days straight, it's insanity. But did you find out what days you got off now? Do you know what days you don't have to work?
So I'm working 5 days a week, and I have Sunday, Monday off, which is really
Good.
nice.
Good.
I asked for Sunday off at least.
Good. So that's
Pretty good schedule.
yeah. So today you had off, right? Mm-hmm. Saturday you had off, but next Saturday you won't have off.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Understood.
Exactly.
Well, now we know, so we can adjust to that accordingly. And there's still no Saturday short today, but it's mostly because I'm focused so much on today was a lot of busy work. Wasn't necessarily moving stuff. It was what's it called? Expense reports. Filling out all of the business expenses last year and all
preparing for taxes.
Tax time. We're already pushing it kind of late. Most people finish their taxes by
I don't think
now.
it's due until April 13th.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's sometime in April, but yeah, we're doing it in March because we had a bunch of stuff to go over. When you're a YouTuber, you have lots of different income sheets to go through. When you have like one job, doing taxes is usually pretty simple because it's just like, there's your taxes, there's how much you made. But with YouTube and stuff, you have income from merch, you have income from Twitch and YouTube. And
well, if you're a
account for all
YouTuber
that.
like you, some YouTubers don't really care, so they have a YouTube channel, that's it.
It's pretty rare, actually.
Really?
Yeah, most of the time. I would say mine is pretty minimal because from what I've heard, most YouTubers get their income from sponsored deals. And I don't know how you report that because that's from multiple different sources. Or
Maybe
if
they
you're from
give
an
you
MCN,
each. Maybe they each give you like a W-2.
maybe, but that would be if you're an employee. I don't think you are. I'm not sure how that works. I'd have to.
Aren't you like contracted by them? Like a.
Well, if it was a contract, I think it would be a 1099, not a W-2. But this is tax talk. It never works. Only worked with the HomePods. Oh yeah, I've learned over the years when something's coming out, and I can tell when it's a fake. But thank you for the super chat. Hayden also super chatted and said, "Are you still putting the audio Twitch text streams on Apple Podcasts?" Which I will say we're trying to do, but for whatever reason, you have to submit your podcast to be like supported on Apple Podcasts and iTunes and everything. You have to like submit it for review. And for whatever reason, every time we submit it for review, we get rejected. I don't know why, because
Inappropriate? Not family friendly?
we submit this. This is the most inappropriate podcast we've
Hey.
done. What?
What do you mean?
I mean, we talked
is
about
very
Toy Story
appropriate.
and World War II and murders.
That was like
and
one comment.
I know, but it's way worse than anything we've ever discussed on a Twitch stream. But for whatever reason, they keep denying it. So I've been trying to do that, Hayden, but for whatever reason, that we're having holdups there. I'm not sure why.
That's random.
You're painting your nails. Can
Yeah.
they see? Oh, they can barely
I'm
see
still
it.
very focused on doing this, but.
You've like angled it just right so the MacBook covers it
Oh,
up.
yeah.
You've got your nail polish out there.
Don't let
I need
that
to do that
distract
for
you.
my nails.
You want me to paint your nails for you?
I do because they look disgusting.
I
My
can paint
nails
them white.
Always look bad.
To match your skin color? No.
Ooh. If they
It'd
matched
probably
my
be
skin
very
color
white.
perfectly, that would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. Studio Geek super chatted and said, "How are you streaming this?"
Via the internet.
Via YouTube. That's how. No, we have a Mac Mini right off camera. plugged into a TV, which is running OBS, and using this keyboard, I can switch between all the different camera angles. So that's how. If it's a sponsor, you would just send them an invoice, right? Like a contract. That sounds right.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of sponsored stuff, but yeah, that's.
Have you
typically what
ever
it sounds like.
done sponsored stuff?
We've done sponsored tech podcasts. Yeah.
Who was the sponsor?
Ooh, I should know this. I think it was another podcast group. I think there was a certain podcast group that would like pay other podcasts to promote their podcast. It was something like that. I forget what it's called. I think one of them was a messaging service.
WhatsApp?
No, it wasn't a known one. It was a pretty small one. But yeah, they've never paid that much. We don't make a whole lot of money off the tech podcast. But what we've discovered from contacting lots of different sponsor groups is that you kind of need to have a history of high viewed podcasts in order, or high listened, I should say, podcasts in order to get sponsors that are willing to pay, because they want to see numbers. They want to see data that says, okay, you've been podcasting for this long and your average listener is this high. Like, this is how many listeners you get. So until you have a bunch of data to present to them, they won't really agree to anything major.
What is considered like a high listened to podcast? Like something with 10,000 listens or 500?
That would be good. I'm not sure what they consider high. Like, podcasting was never really like, what's the word? My forte growing up. I have gotten more into it this year because I've seen the potential in it, and I noticed that there's a lot more people that are like doing things at work or driving, and they spend a lot of time on the road, and having content that can be viewed in the background is becoming more and more valuable. Like, podcasting and podcast listeners are rising up really, really quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah. I see it as it's a good industry to get into. But I never really knew that much about it, about how to monetize it or how to produce it, which is why Ann Sweeney and Randy stepped up and said, we'll handle all that so that you can just focus on the stuff that you're good at, which for me, it's the videos and the edited content and the live streams and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't know too much about it before this year. This year, I'm trying to stay on top of it and just be like, okay, let's just go. Get lots of podcasts out, because you want to have those numbers and that history to back you up, so that when sponsors do start showing up, or you can reach out to them and be like, hey, this is how many listeners we get every week. Then yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Like, in my previous job, it was like I was in fulfillment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, running around 10 miles a day, and having something to listen to really helped pass the time. So I listened to a lot of podcasts and obviously music and stuff. But yeah, I think this is an industry that's still in its infancy. And
Absolutely.
I think in the next 10 years, 20 years, we'll see definitely a bigger boom there.
I've heard other people talk about it and mention that, there's a ton of people producing regular content for their YouTube channel, but the numbers of people producing regular podcasts are far lower, and yet the industry is still growing. So like, it's absolutely not too late to get into that game, as a lot of people are. And I've found a lot of podcasts I enjoy, like even today I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. He does a ton of podcasts. So does H3. I listen to their podcast now.
Doesn't Joe do it like every day?
I think it depends. I don't think it's every day, but it's quite often. I know it'll feel like 3 to 4 times a week. I think I've seen certain times he'll go live multiple times with different guests in one day. I've seen that happen. So he'll have like someone coming in at this time of the day and have someone else come in at a different time of the day. He's just like cranking those out.
Right. How do we get on that level? Like, I want to start having guests and stuff on.
Yeah.
It's just hard because he like lives in LA or probably like a big city.
Right. Well, when you're big and famous, it's a lot easier to get people on your podcast. When you're small and you don't, you're not very well known. That's true. More difficult to get people's attention.
I need to like start looking for a game show to host.
Yeah.
So I can get my foot in the door
host
to
Fear
become
Factor.
a podcaster. Well, is Fear Factor even like playing anymore? Like, is it still going?
I have no idea. I don't watch cable, but that was probably what helped them kickstart his career.
Yeah, and he also did like boxing or something.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff. He has a really rich history of like different jobs and careers, and just an overall smart guy. But yeah, I like listening to him. D-Brand never sponsored me, but I think I got scammed into thinking I did one time.
You got scammed? How?
Yeah, it's a long story. Basically, someone thought it would be funny to pretend to be a D-Brand sponsor,
and they look legit. They had like a D-Brand
pretty
email?
legit, yeah, at the time. But that was way long time ago. That was before YouTube was my full-time job and stuff. But all they got me to do was buy a D-Brand skin. That was the scam.
So maybe it was D-Brand.
Which was about $10.
They do this to
No,
everyone.
they admitted afterwards they were fake.
What's the point of like what? You buying a D-Brand skin? What is that? How does that benefit them at all?
I don't know. I enjoyed it for the time. I had never tried a D-Brand skin before, but yeah, it was it was just like a haha, I made you buy that thing, and it was $10. So I was like, okay, great, prank. And
you've been pranked, bro.
I used it for a while because I had never used a D-Brand before, so I was like, oh, I'll try this out. And it was fine, but over a while it aged, and I was like, this is boring. But
I feel like so many people try to scam you.
Yeah,
like
but I've gotten smart about it.
Whether it's people calling you or... Do you remember that time you tried to sell, I think it was a MacBook Air? That scam?
Oh, yeah, but I caught that
PayPal.
one. I caught that one.
I warned you about it, too. But it's okay.
That was a very elaborate scam, though. They were able to. It. Oh yes, you're so incredibly smart, hon. That's why I trust you so much.
Thank you.
I don't understand why it's a funny prank, but it's pretty lame to me. But yeah, someone was able to. They were able to send emails that looked like PayPal emails. That was the deceptive part.
PayPal@gmail.com, something like that, right?
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But they modeled the PayPal notification emails exactly.
Yeah, they basically just copied and pasted like the format of it.
Right. And they were able to make it look really official, like you will see this in your account balance once the item's delivered. And luckily I was able to contact UPS and they caught it before it delivered.
Yeah. And then we ended up selling it to some guy in Sacramento.
Yeah. No, we sold it. And that money was real. That was legit. We got some more super chats here. What do they say?
Let's see. Rockford Tech, he says the vid is still up. I'm not sure what video he's talking about.
Yeah, I still reviewed the D-Brand. I mean, that part of the video is not a scam. And that probably made more money than the skin was worth. So,
Or maybe he was talking about the scam vid. The one where you were explaining how you almost got scammed.
Maybe, but yeah, I intentionally left that up. I want people to know about that scam.
Yeah.
Look so for the details. Yeah, because people are able to imitate those notification emails really well.
Connor says, "Look at your Twitter DMs from Connor33322."
Okay. Thank you.
And then Studio Geek says, "Do you need a theme song for the podcast?" That's not a bad idea.
Really have one, but we'd be open to suggestions.
We could have like a little intro, like the tech, not the tech podcast, the tech streams that you do.
Oh, where I dance.
Yeah, but we could do like a little song.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Can play something on the uke.
On the uke. Oh, you'd like to sing one?
Yeah, just like a short 5-second blip.
Oh, okay. So I pulled up Connor's DM here. You're not the first person who's worked for Apple and offered me a family and friends discount, but because I know how it's funny because this has been offered to me so many times. I know how the family friends discount thing works.
How does it work?
And it's not something you can really give to me because I basically have to give them my home address. Or my credit card, and they have to fill it out on their end. They can't send it to me. There's been several people who have offered to do that, and they're always like, okay, so basically to give you my discount, all I have to do is enter where you want it shipped.
Know everything about you.
Right.
Give me your social security number.
That's okay. But we appreciate the super chat, and I do appreciate you offering. It's very gracious. And just like the previous people who were trying to help me out. Sorry about that.
Not me.
I muted the Mac. That was just people are like, oh, I work for Apple, I can help him out. And then they realize like, oh, I have to ask for this and this and this and this. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of personal. I'm not going to just hand that out because someone says they work for Apple. Not that I don't believe
That's another way for you to get scammed.
Exactly.
Potentially.
We've gotten much smarter over the years.
Speaking of scams, you've been getting a lot of scam phone calls lately.
Oh, I have. People love those.
Tell me about your experience with that, because I actually haven't seen the videos yet.
Oh.
But I have been here in the room when you've been scam phone called before.
Yeah, you know I love doing that. I love
Sometimes you give
it.
me the phone and then like I speak in Spanish.
Yeah.
My very little Spanish that I know.
Answer it, yeah. But no, it's just I want those scammers to be discouraged. That's my intention, because I know PG&E doesn't call like that. They don't call you saying, oh, we've come up with this new reduced rate, and it's like this normal talking voice who's like, hello, welcome to PG&E. We can discount your voice. Just press 1. Discount your bills. And you just press 1, and then you press 1, and it's instantly connected to some guy in a crowded room where everyone's yelling. And he's like, hello, welcome to PG&E customer service. We can offer you. And they talk super, super fast, and they barely can speak English. So I'm just like, okay, clearly these guys aren't from PG&E. Mm-hmm. Also, I know because they're telling me they can save 75 pounds off my bill.
Wow, your bill must be really heavy.
Yeah, it's a very heavy bill, and it's so expensive that it's measured in UK pounds, not dollars. For those who don't know,
wow,
we don't use pounds here.
We use dollars.
And also PG&E is very much region-based. So there's no way they're outsourcing their customer service to be out in the country. It's not that big a
possible.
Building. It's not. It
but
really isn't.
I think these scams must be working super well, that they can actually have call centers do this and like hire people to do it.
They're scamming like people who are idiots who don't know better.
But guess what? For every 10 regular people, there's going to be that one idiot that falls for it. Yeah, that's pretty much worth it for them.
They do it in bulk, which means that every minute you keep them on the line, wasting their time, you're saving someone else's money. So I'm just trying to discourage them so that they lose money and ultimately can close up shop, because it's really mean that they do that. Same with what's the other one? This home security system. All they want to know is your address and your credit card. That's basically what they need to take all the money off of it. So
wait, really? I don't think they can access your card just based off of the
Well, you got to give it to them.
What?
You got to give it to them for them to install the home
I know,
security.
But I'm saying even if you gave them your credit card number and stuff, they can buy stuff off the internet, but they can't actually access your account without like your username and stuff, right?
They'll probably ask you for that after a certain amount of time on the phone.
Your username and your password and what's your mother's maiden name.
Well, a lot of them will tell you to get on a computer and download a certain program so that they can access your computer. And then once you plug in these certain numbers, they can basically control what's ever on there. So, yeah, but it has to be a PC.
What is that called when like they can track the letters that you type? Like keyboard swiping or something?
That I don't know, but I'm sure it exists. I'm sure that's a thing. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is, but
anyways, we hate scammers, but we love wasting their time. So
yeah, wasting their time is good because it's discouraging, and hopefully they'll learn from that. And
not that discouraging. Clearly, they're still doing it.
Well, if more of us did that, if
everyone did that, let's all band together to waste scammers' time.
Then yeah, hopefully they'll just stop doing it overall.
We have some super chats. Do you want to read them?
Yeah, go ahead. Or do you want me to read them?
You can.
Let's see. We got a super chat from Latrell who says, using my other account because YouTube won't let me donate. Not sure why. I hope the issues get ironed out. So yeah, basically we had some glitches in the revenue department on the Talks podcast because yesterday YouTube said we lost $80.
Really?
And I have no idea how that's possible because you're playing videos on the site and people are watching them. Mm-hmm. So you're earning money. I have no idea how you would lose money in the estimated revenue thing. I don't even get how that makes sense. And it turned out that there was like money taken back from super chat donations.
That's weird.
So I thought maybe someone had donated and charged back the donations.
Like told their bank it was like a fraudulent
Right. So I
charge.
reached out to the guy who super chatted, and that was him, and he said he didn't charge them back.
Mm-hmm.
So either you're lying or YouTube's glitching. So both of the, I mean, to me, YouTube glitching is more likely because I've seen YouTube glitch out many times in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it's bizarre, and I have no idea why they can't track that, and they can't give me a straight answer. So I was on YouTube support today, and I was like, "What's going on?" And the guy was like, "Well, it seems to be working fine. All the ad revenue's doing fine." And I was like, you realize that it doesn't make sense that a channel would lose $80, right? Like that doesn't make sense. So I don't understand what it does, but I guess we'll find out when the ad revenue for this month is finalized and everything. So then we'll find out. But
That sucks.
yeah, I don't understand how it would be possible for someone to donate and then retract, the donation. Like YouTube should penalize you if that happens. They should like deactivate the account or whatever. But Rockford Tech said, I just give gift cards, which I am grateful for. You've done that before. Thank you very much. Latrell said, you should call the Microsoft tech support scam. I don't know who that is, but we'll keep that in mind. Noah said it's a keylogger when you track your keystrokes. That's something what it's called. Okay. Hayden brought up the sad news about the New Zealand Christchurch shooting, which was not good. Very, very sad, and we're very, very upset for the people affected by that. And it was a incredibly deadly shooting in history. I think the most deadliest in New Zealand of all time. And I was quite, shaken up by it that day. Was it yesterday? The day before?
I think that was just yesterday.
Yeah. Well, the news hit yesterday at least. I guess there's a bit of a time zone difference and stuff. But yeah, I was kind of debating whether or not I wanted to make statements on it because I know everyone was, and it feels difficult. It's kind of awkward to know what to do in that situation because ultimately, like, you can share the links as PewDiePie did because he was somewhat referenced during that situation, and that caused a lot of drama in the media. But he didn't upload that day, and he sent a link and said, "Hey, you support the families here," and said money. But that like ultimately, the people being affected by that money's not going to really fix anything. It can help to support those families, but the people who lost loved ones and family members,
that's irreplaceable.
It's irreplaceable, and there's really nothing you can do to really better the situation drastically other than just try to support them and pray for them or support love them in any way you can. But ultimately for us, they're so far around the world, we don't know them. There's only so much that can be done. But so my viewpoint kind of came down to like, well, look, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's hearing about it. What can be the best thing Tailosive can do right now? And for me, it just came down to like, well, some people are saddened by this, and maybe the best thing that other channels can do, apart from, support them and care for them, is just keep going at a regular rate, keep doing what you're doing, and hope that can kind of relieve a lot of the tension in people's day, make content that's entertaining or at least focused on something else. That way spirits can be lifted and there can be positive attitudes, and we can still make people laugh in a time that's really, really hard for a ton of people.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy thing to do, but basically I had a vlog that I made yesterday that was me complaining about some problems we've had on Instagram and Discord, and I decided not to upload it because it felt inappropriate that on a day where so many people are going through so much pain and so much people are going through heartache, that I would upload a vlog that talks about why I'm annoyed or frustrated, and it didn't feel appropriate. So instead of uploading that, I got that scam call, and I filmed that and decided, this is more funny, this is more kind of uplifting, and people, whenever they watch these, they usually have very happy responses of like, oh, this had me laughing, and oh, this made me laugh. So I was like, maybe today would be a better day to not complain about my issues, because those are nothing compared to what people overseas are going through right now, that a lot of people, it's very fresh. So instead, let's make a vlog that's uplifting and funny, and people can laugh at it. That way it's a bit of a ease of tension, you know. So I uploaded that instead, and the regular vlog will be up probably tomorrow. So did you have any thoughts you wanted to share on that? Or
No.
It's rough.
Yeah, I feel bad for everyone who was involved in it. And, you know, any loss of life is a tragedy.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, my thoughts and prayers go out to those people.
Yeah. It's a shame how often it happens. It's making us almost immune, like almost desensitized to how often that kind of thing happens. And immediately we, as humans, I mean, it's good intentions that we want to immediately go to, like, what do we do? Now what? You know, how do we act on this? How do we change this? How do we stop? It's like, the thing is, something that devastating and painful, to a certain extent, it's like, what could have been done?
Right.
You know, like what could have been done, you can always run around in your head, but ultimately, like, it's happened. And the sad thing is, it's probably going to happen again, something like that, because we're not powerful enough, or we're not capable enough to control people that, you know, effectively, that we could prevent something like that, or in the future from mass shootings or deadly things from happening again. It's just not feasible to prevent all murder or prevent all crime like that. It's sad. It's very sad. Yeah, I just saw the death toll was 50 now. It's a real shame. But
I feel like when something like this happens, it's very polarizing.
It is.
I mean, the conversation automatically goes to, you know, gun reform, and should that be allowed? I don't know what gun laws are like in New Zealand, but I feel like they'd be more conservative over there.
I think they are legal in New Zealand, I believe. So the guy clearly wanted to divide people, because, as Latrell just brought up, he live streamed it as it was happening and said subscribe to PewDiePie doing it. And I think that wasn't because he liked PewDiePie. I think he just wanted to cause divide between people. He intentionally just wanted there to be heartache and wanted there to be confusion. He wanted people to turn against each other. But the good thing is, from the most part, I haven't seen that many people think that PewDiePie is to blame. I know that a lot of people online were like, oh my God, people are thinking Felix caused this. And for the most part, I see an overwhelming majority all in agreement that PewDiePie is not attached to this. He's not tied to this. If anyone thinks that, they clearly have no idea who he is. And they've never understood what Felix stands for or anything like that. So, yeah, I think most people were level-headed enough to see that there was no attachment there. But yeah, we probably don't want to go into the politics of it or gun control, because that gets people too divided, and I would rather not be divided right now. I'd rather us just kind of focus on the good things best we can and try to move on. And yeah, so
do you feel like people are inherently good or evil?
Ooh, that's a deep question.
Is that too political?
No, I don't think it's political. That's more thought-provoking than anything. I guess it goes along with the question of, do you think all humans at birth are like a clean slate? Do you think when
this
we're
is like
born,
nature versus nurture? Like, does your environment and your upbringing decide who you're going to be, or is it more like something that is innate in you?
Like, can someone innately act a certain way? Like, if we had two babies born and they rose in the exact same environments and rose the exact same way,
like twins or something.
Like twins, will they turn out to be the same person?
Yeah. I think there's no like clean answer or black and white answer to it.
No, and it's probably impossible to prove either.
Because I know like people can have a really great upbringing and have loving parents and you know, go to a good school and all that, but there might be something like evil in them that, you know, they just don't know.
Yeah,
And I think that's just the way it is. And I think that's just the way it is. And I think there's no like clean answer or black and white answer to it. Yeah. Because I know like people can have a really great upbringing and have loving parents and you know, go to a good school and all that, but there might be something like evil in them that you can't explain. I mean, maybe it's like mental illness, but I don't know what kind of person it takes to get in that mindset to be like, I'm going to kill people.
Yeah. No, I don't understand it either. It's just something about morality that I think from a very, very young age is like integrated that, like hurting others is wrong and, not good. And any type of harm towards others doesn't have to be physical is bad and should be avoided. Like hurting someone's feelings or hurting the way someone feels and thinks and insulting that was genuinely wanted to be avoided. I've just, to me, that's common sense. That's how humans are. But the idea that there's just people out there that willingly, but it doesn't have to be something major like the shooter. It can be someone who, like those internet trolls I've met over my time that are like intentionally just want to cause you distress.
Try to tear other people down. Do you feel like
Right.
it's to bring themselves up, or because they felt hurt before or been torn down
outlet
by others? Like, is it more of like an act of revenge?
I would hope it's. I mean, not that I would hope anyone's like that, but I would hope that it's an outlet because of pain they felt, and this is how they because that would at least be gratifying. Of like, oh, they had a rough life.
Yeah, there's justification to it, or there's an explanation.
Right.
For
Even
their
if it's
actions.
not okay,
Yeah.
there's still justification of like, okay, well, when someone was raised this way or treated this way, they turn into this person. If I can hear that, I can at least say, okay, then it's somewhat like fixable in the future.
But if someone's just evil for no reason,
yeah, that's like the more
that?
Joker mentality of, like
you just like to watch the world burn.
Right. Dog chasing cars, like they'd never intend to catch one. But there's people out there that aren't necessarily causing annoyance or stress or pain to others because it helps them, but legit just because they want to. That scares me. I really hope that's not a common thing. I
don't think it is.
It's probably not common, but
Michael had a good comment here. He said, since morality is an inherently human concept, I would argue humans are born with no intentions other than survival.
So that's saying a neutral standpoint. They're not evil or good.
That's more like survival is the justification of their actions.
So all actions are related to, does this allow me to live? Does this allow me to eat, breathe, sleep, be comfortable, as long as every choice in my life gets me closer to that goal?
Well, I understand that like in extreme situations, like, fight or flight, like if you're in a situation where you need to like hurt someone to save yourself.
Or save someone you care about.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or but I don't understand going out of your way. If no one's hurting you, no one's doing anything to you, what do you have against people that, you go out and cause harm to others?
Yeah. That does put it in a weird place because that makes me think that there are people who are born inherently differently.
Yeah.
Like if they were born under different circumstances, they still would have turned out the same way, like are there people that intentionally just, I mean, I think humans are individualistic enough that they can have different end motives. I've noticed that even not to extreme extents of like this person wants to hurt people and this person wants to help people, like simple things of like what I find gratifying and fulfilling in my life, someone else might not. We can see that disagreement in people, and I don't think it has much to do with upbringing, although it might. It could have something to do with upbringing, but I could definitely see in my lifetime that there are lots of people I've met that are gratified and happy by things that wouldn't gratify and make me happy, and the things that gratify me and make me happy wouldn't make them happy. So yeah, it's that makes me think that there are people who are born that we're all born differently, like that from that might point to more of the idea of a soul.
I like how you say differently instead of like evil.
Yeah. Well, evil implies morality, which, as Michael said, is a human characteristic.
Can a human be inherently good but do evil actions? And
I
then,
think all humans do evil actions.
Yeah, that's true.
I think to a certain extent, no one's perfect. So even even the Pope has sinned, basically, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Even nice people, or even people who have generally done good things for humanity, have made mistakes. I think that's what it means to be human, is to be imperfect, because humans aren't. So coming back to the question, are humans inherently good or evil? I would say no, basically.
To either.
No to either. There's some that may be. There's some that may be born with good intentions from the start, whether or not they were raised that way or not. But there are others that are born with not so great, or you could say evil intentions from the start.
Despite on whatever upbringing they have.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change who they are on the inside.
It might a little bit. I think like you said, these aren't black and white answers. These aren't black and white questions. There's always exceptions and extreme examples. Everything's debatable. But yeah, I would say to a certain extent, yeah, everyone kind of is born with different motives. But once again, that's very impossible to prove, because we can never have one sample human interact with them with identical environments or identical upbringings.
What do you feel about when people use mental illness as like a justification for people's actions? Do you think people should still be held accountable? Because you can have a mental illness and still know that what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it can help with explanations. I think someone being diagnosed with a mental illness can help you figure out like why this happened, but I don't think that should change the consequences of the action. You
don't think they should have special treatment, or
well, they need special treatment, but if you're saying they committed an action that was unjust or unfair, just because they're challenged in a certain way doesn't necessarily mean the rules are accepted differently. I mean, a lot of what the law determines in court is figuring out intent. That's the big difference of people who like plead guilty versus they don't plead guilty, is if they find evidence that someone committed a crime and they still plead not guilty, but they know you did it, that proves that you're lying about this, as in like you wanted to do it, you intended to do it, and they know you did it. So they know in court and on record and everything you're lying to save yourself. That changes the intent, which changes the punishment, versus pleading guilty saying, I do admit that I did this. That means that you're saying, I'm caught, I was wrong, I agree to serve punishment on this. And that's why, as sad as it is, there's so many times in court of law where they encourage the what's the term? The person who's accused, the defendant, that he or she needs to plead guilty, because their sentence will be lessened.
There's a difference between like admitting, what's the word again? Not admitting.
Plead guilty.
Yeah. Saying that what you did or what happened, like you were, I can't speak English right now.
It's okay. Take a second.
I'm saying like, if you admit to doing something, that's different than intent of doing it. Mm-hmm. Like if you said there are voices in your head telling you to do it, does that give you a lesser charge because you weren't like in charge of your mind?
I'm not sure how the law works, but I believe they can make that argument. But your sentence is definitely going to be different if they find out that voices in your head told you to do a certain thing. Then they're going to be like, okay, this person is either some form of schizophrenic where they hear things, and that means they need to be treated accordingly, opposed to someone who doesn't say voices told them to do anything, is just someone saying, nope, I did it because I wanted to, like they're not pushing the blame. It's like, okay, he's not crazy. He's just...
but how easy is it to lie about that? Because I feel like in a lot of the serial killer cases, a bunch of them, blame it on something evil inside them, telling them to do these acts. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they just enjoy the act of murdering people. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm
But
not
I
sure.
feel like they shouldn't get off easy just because.
No, I don't either. I don't think mental illness should excuse you of certain punishment. That doesn't sound right. If someone who's perfectly sane commits a crime, I think that same punishment, maybe not in the same way. I think there's different sentences and different punishments you could rule out to someone who you can deem as actually insane.
So how would you treat them differently? You're saying we shouldn't treat them differently.
Jail versus mental institution, basically. Like this person, they're not okay. They may need doctors, psychiatrists, and medication to try to make them more, sane and understandable as a human, versus someone who wanted to get revenge, or someone hurt them in the past, so they wanted to get back and just committed a crime. They don't need a mental institution. They should probably just go to jail. Like two different ways of taking it. I don't think one should be easier than the other. Some might be able to say a mental institution is harder because you have to go under different types of treatments and medications and therapy.
I'd rather take medication than like drop the soap in prison.
Okay, that's a different discussion. You could just go straight there. But no, I'm saying that the one can be worse than the other depending on the person. It's subjective, I guess.
Like everything.
Yeah. No, it's not an easy answer, but you're right. Plenty of people would rather fake it and go to the mental institution, and I'm sure that happens. That probably happens a lot, to be honest. And yeah, I think to a certain extent, people who enjoy, people who are twisted in the mind and commit crimes could be treated like differently than someone who just sought revenge, because you kind of want to handle them differently. It's kind of like the person who's twisted in the mind, they're a victim of their own disability, basically. They're not able to think clearly. They're not able to control themselves.
Is that a disability, you think?
What?
Being twisted in the mind?
Well, we're talking very broadly here. If voices in your head are forcing you to attack other people, then you could maybe start to make the argument that this person isn't just of ill intent. They're just confused and they don't know what they're doing, And if someone doesn't know what they're doing, then they need to be treated differently than someone who just wanted to, get back at someone. They stole my car, so I shot him. That would be that's different than these voices in my head were telling me to do it, so I did it.
Yeah, that's really hard to figure out intent, because that literally means you have to know exactly what that person is thinking. No one knows what anyone else is thinking, truly.
Sure. No, you can never get in someone else's mind. We can try our hardest to, but
maybe someday that'll be a thing, like Black Mirror style.
Black Mirror, tell what someone's hearing or thinking. I do believe, for the most part, though, those diseases exist. I've heard of what things schizophrenics have heard or talked about. It's really weird stuff. You notice that people who hear voices only hear negative things?
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre? Can
you think of someone? I was about to say that. What if there's a schizophrenic who only heard positive things about themselves?
Yeah, when has that ever been reported?
Donald Trump. This is why he's become too powerful.
I haven't heard anyone claim that they hear voices and all the voices are saying good things.
Yeah.
But
imagine like how happy you would be as a person.
Maybe.
Or maybe your ego would become too big that it's like inflated.
Yeah. Well, I've heard of people with big egos, obviously, but I've never heard of someone that's like constantly hearing nice things in their head being told to them.
Well, people can do that by their own will, like intentionally say nice things to themselves.
Right. But
it's not the same as like being not in control. Like if someone was saying that to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I will add that schizophrenics say that they hear the voice, it's not an internal voice. It sounds like a voice that's in the room with them. That's well, I'm not a schizophrenic, but I've been told that it's indistinguishable from a normal person.
Right.
They will see people that aren't there and hear people that aren't there. And it's bizarre that the brain can just make that stuff up.
Do you believe in ghosts at all?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's possible that those voices they're hearing are like people who have, crossed realms, people who have passed and are coming back?
It's possible in my mind.
But
because I've
why
heard a
would
lot
they
of
only
stories
come
like
back
that.
and like say bad things though? Like, why are these ghosts so
I don't
angry?
think ghosts know they're ghosts. I don't think most ghosts know they're ghosts. We could have very blurry definitions of ghost.
Mm-hmm.
What's a ghost in your opinion, by your standards?
A spirit of someone who died.
Okay.
And is either like in purgatory or just hasn't like crossed over.
So someone who hasn't moved to the next world.
Yeah, someone who has
whatever
like
it is.
unfinished business in this world.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you see ghosts as differently from like demons or angels?
Demons has like a negative, dark connotation to it.
Sure.
More than ghosts. I feel like a ghost could be nice.
A ghost could be neutral. But
I would never invite a ghost into my life. Like, I don't play with any of that Ouija board stuff. I would never even touch it. It scares me. Some of my friends have. I'm like, you're haunted.
Don't you think demons could imitate ghosts?
Perhaps.
I think on that same level.
I feel like I'm a little stitious. I've watched some of those paranormal shows where, they'd try to contact maybe a family member who passed via a Ouija board. Mm-hmm. And they find out, there's a spirit living in their house, and the spirit pretends to be something that's like positive, someone that's nice. And as soon as you let them, enter into your house or into your life, then they kind of like are attracted to you, or they're stuck on you. And they'll basically follow you for the rest of your life.
Wow.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. I mean, there are some hilarious ghost shows on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are fake ones.
Yeah, I think most of them are fake, to be honest.
I like the ones where people tell their own stories. I don't really like the ghost hunter kind of shows because you can't really.
Those are hilarious, though. They're funny. The stuff they'll do on those shows and
door slams. Dude, what was that?
It's like the idea that you could be so in touch with with ghosts and houses and stuff that you could make a TV show about it and have consistent stuff. Like, obviously it's fake, and there's people
you can't keep a show going because there's no guarantee that a ghost will show up.
That's how I know Bigfoot doesn't exist.
Why?
It's because there's a TV show called Seeking Bigfoot.
Really?
And if they found him, the show would end, and the show hasn't ended. And
well, no, the show would take a turn. There'd be a plot twist. The Bigfoot would become friends with them, and then they would give him a makeover.
They always have,
comb his hair.
Barely any evidence to go off of.
There's just some guy in a gorilla suit who's walking like this.
There's an orb. No, I've seen reports from people that worked on the ghost adventure shows that say they were told to make certain sounds, and there was a guy that was asked to bang on walls and stuff, and they were like,
"You watched a show about this?"
No, I've read articles about it.
Who was the guy?
I don't know his
That's
name.
not a good ghost hunter if he's admitting all this.
If you get fired off the show, you don't care. If you don't work there anymore,
if you signed a contract, like a non-disclosure.
It's very easy to be anonymous on the internet. It's very easy.
Okay, then why should they believe this guy? He's anonymous. Anyone could be like, I was on a ghost show and they made me put my footprints on the ceiling.
Excruciating wetail, maybe? I don't know. Why would someone...
Excruciating detail.
That people can go into detail. Like, I worked with this guy, I worked with this guy, I worked with this guy, and this happened. And I don't know. I believe them.
We had a couple of super chats a while back. Did you want to read them?
What were they?
Daniel
said, hi, Joe. I was wondering if you wanted to do a collaboration on my tech channel. Anyway, love your videos and have a good day. I would love to. Just very busy right now, but Twitter's probably the best way to get a hold of me. Thank you for the super chat. And I will get back to you because there's a lot of people who want to collaborate now. So trying to catch up. Latrell says it's nice to see the internet so caring about this, which I agree. I'd like seeing people come together in times of times of hardship. It's important.
Do you feel like things like this wouldn't happen if people were together at all times and not just during these tragedies?
What do you mean?
Like maybe if that guy had more support in his life and I don't know like his
Yeah, I
story
don't know his
personally,
story
but
either. But
I
I
know
know.
some things could be prevented. Like a lot of the school shootings is usually by students. Sorry to bring this back to shootings again.
That's okay.
We'll do it 30
That's all
more
right.
seconds and
That's all
we'll
right.
move on. But I feel like a lot of the school shootings are caused by students usually who went to that school
Mm-hmm.
and have either been bullied or something. And there are clear signs in their life that, you know, there's something wrong with them or they're plotting something.
Mm-hmm.
And if people in their life just paid more attention, then things could have been prevented. Like if they're starting to collect like a bunch of guns and like had diaries about all this stuff or started talking
Right.
about it.
It's impossible to know how many shootings have been prevented from reaching out and helping people and making them feel like they have a family and they have or they have friends that are with them, because you can't count what hasn't happened. So we can only
That's
count when we
true.
failed, to a certain extent, which is with those people who do end up acting out and hurting others. Um, but frankly, I think it's it could potentially be prevented a lot by how the media covers it. I think the media immediately gives. I mean, here we are. It's all the way around the world talking about what happened in New Zealand, and it's because when that kind of thing happens, it horrifies people. It shocks them, which is almost why these people do it. Is it doesn't matter.
They
If
want
it's
to be famous.
They want to be famous, positive or negative news. They just want to shake the world up, and they know that's a good way to do it because they see how it's handled by the media. So, yeah, to a certain extent, I feel like that can cause it is all the attention we give it. Um, but yeah, I don't. And it's hard to say what can be done to prevent that kind of thing, just because it's so insane to imagine. It's like what really can be done.
Right. We can
So,
just each do our individual part and like, you know, take care of the people around us. And if we see anything different, like, you know, report it.
right.
Have you ever seen any of your friends or anyone in your life start acting different that made you worry about them?
I would never say I've met someone that I thought was going to go out and hurt others. I've never had that. But I've later found out they went out and hurt people.
Really?
Yeah, and I never would have called it.
What
So
happened?
it's not something I think that's easy to predict.
What
When people
happened in
act
this
way.
case?
It was someone I knew in school. I won't say them by name, obviously, but I knew them in elementary school, very, very young age. I was like in kindergarten with them. And they weren't necessarily a bad person. They were just kind of off a little bit, I would say. They weren't they didn't have a lot of friends.
Antisocial?
They were kind of antisocial, and I later saw them in the local news getting arrested. They were like, I think they were shooting cars or something. They were shooting at people's cars, like parked cars. It wasn't like at people, but they were getting arrested. And I was like, I never would have anticipated that person would do that. So, and like I've heard so many of those instances with the school shooters, you know, a lot of people are like, I had no idea, or I had no idea this was going to happen. And also, like, what do you do if someone suspects them? What's the process?
Yeah, if there's no proof.
You can't prosecute someone for something they haven't done.
You could make reports to the police. I know you can call in
you
tips.
can. It's just
I know
what,
they
what
don't
can
really.
the police do? You know,
They could do like a welfare check and be like, are you all right, fam?"
would that stop it? You think?
No.
Yeah.
But maybe
That's the
that
impossible
person would
thing.
know, like, oh, I'm on the radar now. Like, I need to be careful.
Or maybe that could unintentionally cause it because they're like, who's tipping police off?
So they get mad.
So they get mad and
so
then they act out.
backwards.
Well, you don't know. The people who do that kind of thing are not normal. You know, they're not thinking straight. So they could go off at any time, or it's hard to know what the proper precautions are for someone who you're worried about. But ultimately, it's sad that it works this way. But we can't really prosecute people for things they haven't done. That protects us
That's
more
true.
than it helps us, I think. If someone just thinks you're a bad person or thinks you're going to do something bad, I don't think you should get arrested for someone's suspicion. If you haven't done it, you haven't done it.
This is like witch hunting at that point.
Right. So
let's move on to a different topic. Someone was mentioning earlier or asking what we thought about the whole college bribery scandal.
I don't know many of the details of that. Do you know much about it?
Not really, other than I think it's Lori Loughlin.
Okay.
And
what happened?
Felicity Huffman.
What happened from what
they
you
basically
can remember?
bribed colleges or gave them money to have their kids like go to that school. I guess their kids weren't smart enough to get into it naturally with their test scores and like your extracurriculars.
Well, my question is, why do we care? It's a school. They want money.
Yeah, but
that's all they care about.
It shouldn't be legal. It's basically saying that anyone who's rich can get in anywhere, and like if you're poor, sucks for you.
Well, I mean, to me, it's like it's a private institution, right? So like, as immoral as it may be, this is their choice, right? If they want to take people's money, they can do it. I mean, it doesn't make it okay. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying like colleges ultimately, I mean, if you know how a lot of colleges work, how they'll contact you after you've graduated and ask for donations. Like, hey, you're paying debts off with us, but you should send us some more money. You know, like to me, that is no surprise at all that a college would be like, oh, so we just got to let your daughter in and we'll get all this money. Sure. It depends on the college. Some of them are public. I don't know the specific instance with this college, but to me, they scam people a lot. So I don't know. What do you feel about all of it?
Like, I don't think it's right. But at the same time, I don't really care about going to college. So
yeah, I don't either. I guess that's why I don't care that much about that subject, was just because
I do feel bad though for the people who actually like work hard, get good test scores, and like have a bunch of, outside activities to boost up their resume or their college entrance thing. And then they can't get in simply because, someone else paid for their slot, basically.
That's true. They did
so it's just like
other people.
It's
but
furthering like class inequality.
Yeah, I do think we fantasize what colleges can do for us, though. Like, what was this one of those big colleges, like with a big famous one?
USC.
I'm sure there's a ton of people out there that are convinced that like my life's going to be a failure if I don't go to this college, or I need to go to USC, or what did you say?
USC, yeah, University of Southern California.
Yeah, I need to go there or else I can't get the degree or the career I want. And it's really like it has such little to do with where you end up ultimately.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't make my blood boil, I guess, because I see it as like what college you go to, what degree you get has such little to do with what career you're going to line yourself up in. It's like don't.
There you go, folks. Drew does not care about this.
Don't get so cooped up in what college you get into, and I would tell that to the mother who bribed her daughter into this. Like, it's messed up. I get it. They're cheating the system and everything, but ultimately, do you think that daughter is going to be more successful now?
No, she's not. That's the point. She's getting into this school not by her own merit, but because of money.
And I think the people that work really hard and we're going to go to USC, get a great degree, and then find a great job and grow a career out of it, this didn't stop them from doing that.
What about those people? You can't measure the ones that it did stop.
You're right. I can't. But I'm just saying.
Because this isn't the only instance. If thousands of people are doing this, like paying to get into this school.
Yeah.
Then you're saying shucks for those poor people? Like,
I'm not saying shucks. I'm saying if you're determined and if you're passionate enough, you won't let those things stand in your way.
But it doesn't matter how determined you are if the cards are stacked against you.
I just don't put all of someone's career and success on one school. I don't relate to that, or I don't see that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in certain aspects. I could be wrong, I admit, but ultimately I just think that the people who have a dream or have a career they want to pursue, they're going to get there, and they're not going to let a college saying, "Oh, you don't have enough money, stop them." If they're really determined and they really want to achieve that dream, they'll get there. I don't think that the bribers are necessarily. I mean, they're an obstacle in that way that shouldn't be there, but they're not going to prevent those dreams from being reached. Do you disagree?
I agree somewhat, but I don't think that it should be legal. I don't know if it is legal for schools to be bribed and for people to bribe schools. I just think it's unfair to those people who don't have.
No, I agree.
Well, you certainly don't care that much, it seems.
Well, I admit that it's not. It doesn't surprise me, but it doesn't make it okay. No, I agree. It should be illegal. But there's a lot of, I would say, unfairness in achieving certain colleges or being able to go to certain colleges. There's a lot of scholarships in place that are available for certain people and not others. And
Are you talking about affirmative action?
I'm not sure what that is.
It's like scholarships and stuff based off of your ethnicity or your
yeah. I mean,
background.
that's one aspect of it. There's a lot of scholarships in place for lower income and for things like that. But I ultimately just think that the people who wanted to achieve those careers still are going to. And as we're all talking about it right now, it was a big enough mistake that they're getting in big trouble for it. So I imagine this is probably going to ruin their life. And no, I don't. I just don't see it as a major issue because that girl's probably not going to have much of a career set in stone because she's forever going to be known as the girl who bribed her way in. And she'd probably have a very hard time finding a job now.
Well, she's a YouTuber, so it doesn't matter who refuses to hire her. She's got like 2 million subscribers.
Really?
And tons of sponsorships.
What did she go to college for?
She likes to party.
Oh. Yeah, see that I don't understand either. There are people who go to college for the atmosphere.
But you're saying, I mean, her mom bribed the school for her to go there. So isn't that even worse that she doesn't even care about going to school there?
Well, what do you think is worse, the fact that the mom bribed her to go there or the fact that the college was okay with it?
I think it's equally as heinous.
They're both to blame. Yeah, I would say the college is messed up for enabling the mom to allow that. But yeah, if anything, this should be bad press for that school. If anything,
it's not just that school though. It's the thing. It's like a bunch of schools are doing it.
Oh, did they all come forward? What happened?
I don't know all the details, but
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know all the facts on the situation, but I agree that shouldn't that shouldn't be legal. But I just encourage people to not think that their success sits in a specific school. You can get
It just makes it harder for you, but doesn't mean you should give up.
No, yeah, don't give up. What did we were listening to Dave Ramsey a couple months ago. What did he say about didn't he like do deep interviews on like a bunch of millionaires or something?
Oh yeah, he had.
What was that data? It was something about how many of them went to college.
I don't think it was about college. I thought it was about private school.
Yeah, private school.
Only like 10% of them went to private school.
Right.
So it doesn't have any effect really on your success.
Right. Which I would echo to people, just knowing that like the specific schooling you went to doesn't have that much to do with what success you'll find in life. It can help, but I think people who are determined and passionate and know what they want to do, they're going to get there. They're not going to let specific universities get in the way or anything. So, yeah, I see it that way.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Shall we
wrap
it up?
All right. Well, we got to get going. But thank you all for watching, tuning in, for your super chats, your questions. And we will see you all in the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.